Okay, welcome everybody to another edition of our Unstoppable REI. This pretty lady's making me forget what I'm going to say here. Um, Unstoppable REI. We're here with another episode. I'm here with my friend Mandy Mcallister.
Oh,
So,
hi.
hey, so Mandy, you tell me that you are you used to be it's not a train of thought. I mean, you messing me up. What was I going to say? Um, comedy,
I used to do
impromptu.
comedy. I was
Yeah.
too nervous to be in front of a crowd.
Okay.
So I started taking improv comedy lessons. And then my last teacher was like, "You're not bad. Try out for the conservatory." They
Nice.
freaking let me into the Second City Conservatory, Rufus.
Is that right? So how long were you doing
Yeah.
comedy?
Just a couple of years.
Okay.
I was in my early 30s. I already owned properties. I had lots of mortgages and a W-2 and
Nice.
doesn't pay the bills doing
I
comedy.
Hey, I know the feeling. So let's get started here. So tell me, give me your 30-second elevator pitch. I mean your or 5 minute elevator pitch or whatever makes the most sense here. Just tell me your story.
Sure. I buy small multis. Period.
Boom. I
Well,
like it.
roughly 4 units to 50-ish units is my preference.
Okay.
I like to be able to get agency debt on things and own those for the long term by
Okay.
myself or with just a few partners.
Okay.
Uh, Got started by buying a fourplex in a college town in Illinois. Was super nervous at the age of 35 to buy this fourplex,
Sure.
even though I had been bitten by the must invest in real estate bug at
Yeah.
19.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, it took me a while, but once I got there, I got there.
So you got bit by the bug at 19, but you didn't pull the trigger till 35, did you say?
Can you believe that?
That's kind of a long
Yes.
time. So, but you took a big bite because you're doing how? What is the minimum? 30 units? You said 30 to 50.
I buy 4 to 50 units is my wheelhouse, but I'm
Oh,
right
okay.
now I'm in 371.
Wow, that's incredible. That is really cool. So do you? So you don't manage them yourself, do you? Or
Oh, well,
okay,
unfortunately, there's like 10 total units I'm still with my hands into
okay,
that I'm actively trying to get my hands out of.
got it. Okay, well
Yeah.
that is really cool. So where do you buy? All over the U.S. or?
I really like to be able to see, to inspect what I
Hmm,
expect. And
okay,
I had the opportunity to coach some women in buying small multis. And a big
nice.
piece of it is it gets away from you quick,
Okay,
right? The
sure.
100 unit plus that you learn, go buy that because you can afford a full-time person.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you only have 10 units, like that gets away from you quickly. So you've got
Gotcha.
to look at what you own.
Okay. By the way, and we'll talk about this later, but I I'm looking for more women real estate investors to connect with, and so please send me some people so that I can talk to.
I got lots of friends. I
Okay,
got
cool.
you.
I love it. So tell me what do you wish you would have learned when you first started your career?
Well, I think much like everybody, I
Yeah.
wish I would have had the bravery to
Hmm.
get started
Okay.
more quickly. I know people would say I wish I would have started sooner, but for me, it was a bravery thing. It was,
Okay.
the society. I was a perfect little girl who was pre med and did all the right things and got straight A's and was a Division I athlete and did all of the right things.
Okay.
Like you don't take a left hand turn in your
Yeah.
career and leave a highly sought after medical device job to go
Hmm.
buy apartment buildings. That's silly, right? It's living a life that's truest to yourself. And
Okay.
how can you get there? And for me, it was investing in myself in real estate.
Wow. Okay. That's really cool. So Division 1 athletes, you've done a lot of stuff.
I'm a Jill of all trades,
A Jill
my
of all
friend.
trade. I like it. I like it. So tell me now. Everyone has different views on failure. I don't fail. I learn and all that stuff. But what I want to
Mm.
know is, however you define it, what was your biggest failure,
Ooh.
and what did you learn from that?
So I think the perfect little girl thing, like
Yeah.
I very much like only did things I couldn't fail
Hmm.
at for the
Okay.
bulk of my life.
All
And
right.
I remember I actually had an opportunity to write a chapter in a book it's called Aspire Women Finding Their Purpose, about me
Okay.
finding my purpose.
Sure.
And there was kind of this watershed moment that I was in medical device sales, like in a parking garage, ready to go in and make some sales calls at a
Okay.
hospital. And I had a full on panic attack
Wow.
because it was like the perfection train was a stoppin', And it was many things were out of my control. Like a boss was basically telling me to grow sales by doing something that wasn't okay to do.
I see.
And I was either I do the thing that he says to do that I know is ethically wrong, or I don't make my sales number, So for me, that was kind of it's not a huge example, but it's a big one. A big one that I've talked about a few times is, having been a multifamily investor, a guy came to me who was a big time single family investor that I went to church with. Our children played together, and he wanted to do a syndication on a large deal in Chicagoland. I hadn't done anything with him, so I said, let's do something small. He found 2 single family homes, but he's like, oh, great, you be the capital on these. And I'll, do what I need to do to put them under my blanket loan. And then we've done a deal together. Great. That makes sense. It's a layup. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Dude walked away with my $110,000. We're 4 years later, and I still have not seen a red cent from this man.
Wow. That's a pretty big chunk.
It is.
Yeah. Wow. But I guess it's a valuable lesson, right?
Right. Like I now know that he's not doing it. Like he looks so successful on the surface, right? But I know because he's doing it the wrong way, And I now trust my instincts more because I and long story short, I was able to buy those properties that he never bought. And I made my money back.
Got it. Well, that makes sense. That's great though. That's great. Yeah. It's interesting. Well, you with the sports background, I'm not so much sports, a little bit, but we used to say that everybody looks good in warm-ups. You know what I mean? So it's like looks, you can talk the lingo, you can, you dress like it, but it's like when it's time to pull the trigger, you don't know, you don't know what you're talking about, and that can be very dangerous.
And I don't want to look good. I want to be good.
Yeah.
You
know?
You do both? I don't want to look exactly. Well, yes, but like by being good, you're going to look good. Right?
That's true.
It's the optics thing. And I don't want to look rich. I want to be rich.
Yeah. You know what's funny about that is that the people that are rich, they don't really, what I find, and this is another saying my wife and I say all the time, it's like the person, well, first of all, confidence is very quiet, and insecurity is loud. So the person that's doing all of the talking, they really don't have very much. And the people that really have it, they don't necessarily want you to even know about it. So it's like, so you don't really know, it's like the millionaire next door, kind of a thing. And in fact, I was interviewing one guy, I just gave him private, but he said that he was bragging so much about what he owned and didn't really have his asset protection game on par, and got taken to the cleaners because people knew what he had and they just searched him out. And so it's like, you shouldn't even let people know what you have. It's like control everything and own nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So keep it quiet. So anyway, that's for a whole nother episode. But so what kind of advice would you give to somebody that wants to invest? Either a single family or want to do multis like you. What advice would you give them?
A thing that we say a lot, and actually I had a call right before ours here with a woman who's, it's the underwriting, it's so scary, and the underwriting, and I'm adding a zero and blah, right? The whole trick is, Rufus, you've got to get to a place that you can trust your own judgment.
Okay.
Right? What is it going to take for you to trust you? And for me, one of those things, and the people that I've helped out, like I see time and time again, it's just, you got to run the damn numbers. Like do it enough times that you've seen what you know, right? And you are such a specialist in this one market that even though this place is renting for $400, you can get $1,000 because you are a dang expert, Okay. Trust your own judgment, figure out what that takes.
So, so what does it take? So I guess it takes something different for everybody to get to that point, right?
The formula I've seen work a lot. And do this with a friend. If you're listening at home and you want too much money to hire a coach, whatever. I get it. It doesn't work for everybody like that. But the way that I love to teach this is in a small group. I give them a T12, right? And the trailing 12 months of the profit and loss statement for a small multi. And I say, all right, with whatever calculator, whatever numbers, chicken scratch, whatever you decide to do, come back with the maximum price you would pay for this property, knowing that it's in this zip code, whatever, right? Okay. And then we all get on Zoom, and then everybody, I make them write down their price, and they hold it up, right? So now you're naked. Now you've bared your soul that I'm only willing to pay $400,000, but Rufus is willing to pay $1.5 million.
Got it.
What happens then is this conversation about, well, I don't know if I can get the rent of $1,000. And Rufus is like, no, that place next door is getting it. I know it can happen. Okay. Right. And learning how to trust your judgment, those conversations after the knowing your price. Yeah. That's what teaches you to trust yourself.
Nice, nice. So, so what resources have helped you along the way? I mean, what would you say are maybe your top two, three resources
Mm.
that have helped you that you'd
I,
recommend?
the exercise of doing the numbers,
Okay,
lots and lots and lots, like
okay,
that's what helped me trust myself.
okay.
Um, a guy who's a member of a mastermind I'm a part of called I'm part of GoBundance Women. A guy,
Nice.
Michael Blanc, is
Okay,
part of that. Also, he has a really incredible calculator that was helpful for about $100. So if you're
okay,
too many moving parts for looking at larger properties, his syndicated deal analyzer was super helpful to me.
okay,
But so much of it for me was like learning how to balance my life,
okay,
learning how to like, all right, I'm full focus on this because I'm a single mom, right? Like
okay.
the not feeling guilty because I'm doing something like this that really feeds my soul,
Yeah.
knowing that my kid wants to play with me. Well, you know what? We're gonna play at
Right.
3:30 when we're done here, you know?
Right, right. It's kind of when I hear stories like that, it's kind of like when you're on the airplane and they say, "Hey, if the oxygen thing comes down, put it on your face first before you help." It's just like you your capacity to help other people is in direct proportion to you helping yourself, and
Yep.
that's hard to think that sometimes. It's kind of funny. This is a little bit. I heard you mention church. My father was a pastor, mother and father,
Mm-hmm.
and here is something that in terms of priorities we went through this thing where you said, your wife and your mother are are drowning. Who do you say first? That was a tough question. Now, the and I've gotten various answers from different people, but the correct answer is your wife. Now, that may be kind of controversial, but anyway, I guess my point is that you need to have your own rules that you live by, and you need
Exactly.
to and you need to take care of you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and your ability to take care of other people is in direct proportion to how well
Yeah.
you take care of yourself, you know what I'm
I
saying?
will say that
Yeah,
mom guilt is its own particular flavor.
it is. That's a whole
And
nother thing, and I should probably shouldn't even jumped on that, but go ahead.
well, no, my God, like I do not take away from
Yeah,
that this is a human thing, right? Like we
yeah,
all suffer from it. But the mom guilt
yeah,
and then the single mom guilt, like
yeah,
that is
yeah.
those are particular flavors that I feel like, you got to be nicer to yourself. And that's something that I
Yes.
learned, that I have to do if I'm going to move forward. If I'm going to show him a good example
Yeah,
of what life could be, of
yeah,
what chasing your dreams looks like, that's on me, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. How many kids do you have?
Just the one, but I
One.
kept him alive for 6 years. I'm real proud.
Wow. Nice. Well, so who are, I guess you say, some influences, people, maybe
Mm,
the two, three top influences in your life. Who are those people? Who would they
mm.
be?
Probably the ultimate influence in my life, the person that I want to be most like when I grow up is
Yeah.
my grandma. I mean, she's no
Wow.
longer with us. I'm
Okay. Sorry to
Amanda
hear that.
Jeanette. She was Grandma Jeanette. She was my closest neighbor on the farm a
Yeah.
mile away. And just like her quiet, like always do the right thing. Don't
Okay.
sweat the small stuff. All of those types of life lessons.
Yeah.
That's generosity. Gosh, her generosity was unparalleled. She's been an incredible influence in the
Who
most,
who
yeah.
who else would you say? A couple more.
In terms of like women that I want to be like, I mean, I'll tell you what, this peer group that I joined in GoBundance, there are so many women that
Yeah.
I want to emulate. My friend Liz Faircloth, who's
Okay.
part of she and Andressa started Invest Her, the real estate Invest Her network,
Wow.
which is inspiring. 12,000 women
Is
is
that
their
right?
group to invest
Wow.
in real estate. Like back in the day when they were going to start their podcast, they were
Yeah.
told, "Oh, you're going to run out of women," right? And now there's 12,000 members to their network so far.
That's
I
crazy.
love watching what they're doing. Another woman that I can't get enough of in my life, Erin Bradley. She coaches real estate agents. She owns a mortgage company. She like her level of distilling compound things, her level to inspire
Yeah.
and really make things simple is unparalleled as well. So
Okay.
um, surrounding myself with people I admire the crap out of is
Yeah.
what has made me go more quickly in my
That's
life.
that's great. Do you have a coach right now, or have you had coaches in your life?
I've had coaches
Okay.
before. I mean, I was an athlete. Like
Oh,
I'm
right, of
fully
course.
convinced,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
that like I get better at stuff when someone can help me point out my blind spot.
Got it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, that being said, like, I feel like just because you have a coach doesn't mean they're a great coach.
No,
You
that's
know?
true. That makes good, yeah, perfect sense. Yeah, yeah. But I love what you're saying about surrounding yourself with smart people. I mean, it's like if you're the smartest person in the room, that you need to get into a different room.
You're in
You
the
know what I
wrong room.
mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So so what is one myth in real estate investing that you can debunk?
Mm. That multifamily is significantly more difficult than single family.
Okay.
And it's literally, I just said this on the call with my girlfriend,
Yeah.
right? Well, I'm helping her buy some larger stuff, but
Yeah.
um, it's bigger, it's more, it's not different,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Like if you're going to buy a fourplex or a single family or a fourplex, how is that different? How were the numbers different? You're going to collect, like it's not like you're
Right.
going to collect money and you're
Yeah.
going to have bills and you're going to be kind to the residents that live with you.
Sure.
Same damn thing, right? And
Yeah.
if you go from a fourplex to 20 units, or let's say that it's 5 fourplexes next to each other, well, that's
Yeah.
20 units.
Okay.
Why is that so earth-shatteringly different than buying one damn fourplex? It's not.
Okay.
It's intimidating to women because there's these zeros. You
Yeah.
just got to learn to trust your own judgment, and you do that by doing the work.
Yeah. What do you think about the idea of someone purchasing an investment property like a fourplex, multifamily, for their first time home buyer, buying that? Do you like that idea?
I don't have a lot of regrets in my life, Rufus.
Yeah.
But one is that I didn't do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that is the best possible way to move forward in investing at all. Because think about that. If you pay 2.5% down on an FHA loan for a fourplex, you rent the rest of them out. Your situation can change in a year, and you move, and you keep that damn property on that loan forever.
Right. Right. I love that. Yeah. Those are things that I wish I would, like you said, I wish I would have known that earlier. Because it really is kind of just a mindset, like you said. You think
Exactly.
there's more numbers, more zeros added to the numbers, so it's harder. And maybe in a lot of ways it could be easier. I mean, certainly with, like you're saying, with the FHA loan, you get the same kind of loan as you would on a single family, but you could use the income from the rents to cover your, to help you qualify for it. So maybe in a lot of ways it could be easier. So it's crazy. So I'm just trying to think here. I got about 1,000 questions in my head. It's crazy. Well, first of all, how can people connect with you if they want to connect with you? Yeah.
The easiest way to find me is myname.com, mandymcallister.com. It's a catch-all for all the stuff that I do.
Okay, cool. And how you spell McAllister?
MCA. So it's MandyMcallister.com.
Okay, nice. So what, if you're sitting on the side of the screen here, what should I be asking that I'm not asking? What do you want people to know that I haven't asked you about?
Another thing that really kind of helped me in my journey was you've heard before that readers are leaders.
Yeah.
That the only thing different in your life today versus your life 5 years from now are the people you meet and the ideas you read, right?
Wow. Yes,
you can affect that. You get the choice.
Okay.
So choose what you're doing. So challenge yourself. If you're not where you want to be in your life in any piece, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm divorced. I knew my marriage wasn't where I wanted it to be. So I read all of the books that I could find on growing an incredible marriage, right? And now I have all of these ideas that are making me a much better partner in my new relationship.
Yeah.
I've in multifamily real estate, that there are dozens and dozens of books on that are ideas that I've learned. So right now, download Audible, download the library app for where you live. You can download for free audiobooks and play them in your car instead of the 4 songs that you hear on a loop on your radio station. So no extra time in doing that, no extra money in doing it if you do it through your library. Just learn more.
Yeah, I love that. It's interesting. It hadn't occurred to me that you could do that through the library. I love Audible. And to your point, I also have heard it said that one of the major differences between the rich and the poor is what they do in their spare time.
Yep.
So it's just like you said, making a decision, being intentional about how you're spending your time, what you're doing, learn, I mean, I love that.
And to call back to a thing that you said before, like know what you stand for, your principles. Ray Dalio has an incredible book on principles. It's called principles, right?
Okay.
And that my primary takeaway wasn't like what Ray Dalio's principles are. Sure, he's an incredible, hedge fund. He's a big deal in hedge funds, right?
Okay.
Like he's one
Sure.
of the most rich guys.
Yeah.
But this idea of I need to have my own principles and I do not negotiate,
Okay.
right? Like your friend Mandy really likes ice cream. Like
Yeah.
it's non-negotiable. We don't keep that stuff in my house because I know I'm going to eat it, right? Like
Right.
that is my, principle.
Okay. What's your favorite ice cream?
Oh, I'm a butter pecan. Grandma Jeanette turned me on to the butter pecan when I
No
was a
way.
kid.
That's my favorite. That's my absolute
Really?
favorite. Yes.
That's
And I now this is a little bit weird. I love to have it melted. I love to have melted
Ooh.
ice cream. So I will even put it in the microwave for like 30 minutes. My wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, it's gonna melt. That's exactly what I want. I want it to melt. Anyway. So all right. So final question for you.
Yeah.
Like two-part question. I want to know. So if you Google the term real estate investor failure rate, okay, you'll
Mm-hmm.
see that 95% of real estate investors fail. It's a huge number.
Mm-hmm.
So my whole point in starting the podcast was because I wanted to talk to successful real estate investors and find out, well, what are you doing differently? That's so you're able to succeed in the industry with such a high failure rate. So here's a two-part question. Number one, what how do you define the word unstoppable?
Mm-hmm.
And then what are you doing or what have you done to make yourself unstoppable when it came to failure to be able to succeed in this industry with such a high
Yeah.
failure rate?
I love it. This is awesome. This idea of unstoppable. I live and die by that, man.
Yes,
So,
yes.
I think that we are super lucky. First you got to understand that real estate has a tendency to forgive you over time.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I'm in 2008. I'm like, I'm going to buy a condo and it's going to appreciate. And I'm
Yeah.
going to rent it out and I'm going to move into the next one and I'm going to rinse and repeat. Well, it was
Yeah.
friggin' 2008 in Chicago. Like we weren't done
Right,
at our
right.
bottom until
I remember that.
2010 or 11.
Yeah.
Terrible. Right. So I screwed up my first acquisition
Okay.
ever because I went into it not understanding the numbers.
Sure.
I went
Okay.
into it uneducated.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So first, mitigate your risk by educating yourself. Number two, figure out optionality. This is another thing I preach a lot, right?
Okay.
Like I don't go buy a deal unless I know I have 2 or 3 or 4 potential exit plans.
Nice.
What I see that's scary right now is people who get into a $30 million deal, and we're going to be able to make these returns happen if we increase rents at the 7.5% rate that have historically over the last 4 years we've been like we're going to stay at a 7. No, bro. Like at some point, that rate is going to slow. Like it's the law of large numbers.
Totally.
So if you only have one business plan and you have to thread the needle to maybe hopefully get a return that might work, you're doing an unsafe deal. Okay. But if you can do that deal and like in your duplex, know that it works for long-term renters, know that you're right next to a hospital and you can rent it out to traveling nurses on Furnished Finder, know that you could do an Airbnb type play. Those are 3, or you could just flip it and sell it. Those are 4 potential exit plans that give me the warm and fuzzies if I go buy something right now.
I love it. Okay, cool. And that's how you approach all your deals. You want to have 3, 4 different exit strategies and do the numbers and
it's hard to screw up if you have a bunch of different exit plans. It's also a really incredible defensive strategy, in my opinion, to wait to pay not a lot, right?
Okay.
Like if you can wait to find something that is very inexpensive, then you could screw it up 100 different ways and still be fine.
Right.
Right.
Plenty of room
you just
there.
have to have the patience in order to do it. You can't get too hungry.
Yeah. Are you a patient person?
No,
I'm not either.
All.
I'm not either. Yeah, I'm not either. So the patient challenge doesn't, anything involving
you want melted ice cream and you put it in the microwave. Of course you're not patient.
And that is I know. I don't think I've ever shared that with anybody. That's like my own little secret, but I absolutely love it. And butter pecan, I mean, man. So do you like Haagen-Dazs?
Oh, it's not allowed in my house, Rufus.
Oh, it's not. Oh, so you like it, but it's not allowed in your house.
Yeah,
got it.
Exactly.
Okay. And what part of the US are you in? Are you in Chicago?
I live in Chicago area. Yeah, I grew up on a farm downstate Illinois.
Okay.
College volleyball in Georgia. Moved to Chicago right after.
Love it. Yeah, we spent some time in Chicago it was probably 2010, 11, 12. We loved it. We lived in Schaumburg, and I'm in Minnesota now. And now, since we got 4 kids, What were we gonna say? We're gonna say something.
No, we're in Minnesota.
Like the Lakeville area, kind of south of the river. You know,
Cool.
it's a suburb
Okay.
of St. Paul. But anyway, so but our last child just graduated. My last daughter with 2 boys and 2 girls, and now we're looking for someplace warm to live. Now we love Chicago. We actually love New York as well, but you know, the priority is heat. We want warmth. I mean, because you know what I mean. The snow. Do you like the winter? I mean, I don't.
I no, sir.
Yeah.
My dream though is
Yeah.
to like own Airbnbs in these
Okay.
places, and
Nice.
like I want to rent somebody else's Airbnb in Manhattan for
Got
3
it.
months
Yeah.
or
Me
when I
too.
retire. Like,
Yeah.
well, I'm retired, but not really, you know.
Got it. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. Anyway. So anyway, I appreciate your time. I do not want this to be the last time we talk because I number one, I need more women to talk to. Number two, we need to talk about, I don't know, we need to talk about ice cream. We need to talk about, Division One sports. We need to, I don't know, we need to talk about everything. I really had a lot of fun. This has been great. So, so I can call you again. We can talk again. Is that cool?
Absolutely. And I bought a motel up in your neck of the woods.
No
on the
way.
Wisconsin border. If you know where Balsam Lake, Wisconsin is, I bought
Okay.
an 18-unit motel there.
Okay.
It's about 45 minutes from you.
I love it. Okay, so I have to go there. Maybe we can, I don't know. Do you say
Ice
that?
cream.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Well, listen, thanks again for your time, and we'll talk again real soon. Okay.
You got it. Thank you.
Okay, you bet. Take care. Bye now.
Bye-bye.